Hope for glory. My dear brothers and sisters, today we celebrate the day when Jesus shows his glory. This event is often called and commemorated as Jesus' Transfiguration or simply Transfiguration. Jesus experiences what Moses experienced in Mount Sinai. His face was shining as he talked with God the Father. Jesus later changes not only his face, but also his body in his resurrection. The event Jesus showed his glory becomes the clue of how prophesied divine revelation will be fulfilled. This is visible when Jesus talks with two essential figures who have great influence. Moses, a person who introduced to Israelites the divine prophets, and Elijah, another prophet at the time. The appearance of these two characters is a crystal clear symbol that Jesus will fulfill the hope of the Israelites. However, this novel phenomenon is very contrast against the suffering and humiliation that Jesus will experience. These two seemingly paradoxical things are inseparable and are necessary to establish the status of Jesus as the Son of God. The Church teaches us that this is clearly understandable when a voice came out of the cloud with full clarity, saying, "This is my Son, my chosen one, listen to him." Let us not forget that the same Son of Man is shown by his suffering on the cross. Therefore, Jesus indicates his glory and also his humility by serving his disciples and many more at his time and place in Israel as a servant. Thus, Jesus is truly the Son of Man and the Son of God. My brothers and sisters, nowadays we often depend on worldly things only. In fact, three of Jesus' disciples experienced that as something like magic due to lack of understanding of their behalf. They then offered to Jesus so that they were allowed to build tents as if they did not want this magical phenomenon to last. This attitude from the disciples surely resembles common people behavior upon secular things rather than heavenly glory figures. It even becomes worse later as shown by the disciples' disappointing acts. Instead of keeping in watch as Jesus transfigured, they fall asleep. This is a very good representation of most of us when faced with such situation. We fall asleep because we focus too much on worldly things rather than to adore the heavenly gifts and grace in our daily lives that sadly most of us will take them for granted. We certainly still need secular things because they are basic human necessities. However, more than that, we will also need spiritual power so that we are not trapped on secular things all the time, which make us fall asleep and lose direction for the salvation of our souls. Pope Leo emphasizes this in his recent statement, quoting St. Augustine, that we need to change from amor sui, egoistic, myopic, and destructive self-love, to amor Dei, a free and generous love grounded in God and leading to the gift of self. This is necessary because God also humbled himself and shares himself to us, whereas he is truly holy. The glory that Jesus indicates becomes hope for us. We're reminded that as we take part in Jesus' sufferings and death on the cross, he'll bring us to resurrection and ascension into heaven. This is the way of Jesus express His glory. Even though the disciples showed disappointing attitude, Jesus still gave them chance to do better. And they did it. They become martyrs in His name. Hope in Jesus strengthens them and us in this world, so that we can then join in witnessing God's glory in heaven. My dear brothers and sisters, hoping for God is never disappointing. Jesus has shown His glory to give us hope that He will fulfill the hope of everyone who believes in Him. However, sometimes we do not pay attention to God's glory happening in our daily lives because we focus too much on ourselves and other worldly things. In fact, we can be stronger and feel God's presence by maintaining our love and give our time with Him. We must realize that our life is in God's hand. That's why we must hand our lives over to God and obey His rules. While doing that, let us hope so that we may join in His glory. May through the transfiguration we celebrate today, our hope for salvation become more stronger, like the message of this Jubilee year. Hope will never disappoint, especially not confident. May God always accompany us in our unending pilgrimage. Amen.